अक्षरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। आराध्य भगवान् व्रजेश तनयस् तथाम वृन्दावनम्। रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता। श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमार्थो महान्। श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभुर्मतमिदम् तत्र दारण परः। अनार्पिता चरिं चिरात् करुणयावतीर्णा कलौ समर्पयितुम् उन्नतोज्ज्वलरसां स्वभक्ति श्रियम्। हरिः पुरट सुन्दरद्युति कदम्ब सन्दीपिता सदा हृदय कन्दरे स्फुरतु वाशचि नन्दनः। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जगत मंगलोद्वैत मंगल गुणधाम मंगल चरित्र सदा मंगल चारणम। Hare Krishna, we'd like to welcome all of our dear listeners who have joined us live over YouTube, our Facebook Live listeners, and our dear listeners who have joined us over Zoom. We welcome all of you to this day 76 of Sri Gauramrita. So before we proceed, we'd like to announce and congratulate the participants from the quiz session from yesterday, from day 75. We'd like to congratulate Hari Prasad Prabhu. We'd like to congratulate Mother Amrita Radhika, Vaijayanti Lalita Mataji, Nutan Purohit Mataji, Tithi Mitra Mataji, and Ranjani Gopika Mataji. We thank you all very, very much for, and sorry, there's one more, Varshana Chitra Mataji. Thank you all so much for participating in the quiz session. We are so, so grateful to all of you for so enthusiastically participating in the quiz. So today, in session 76, we will continue to describe the transcendental treasure trove of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sweet devotional pastimes, where we are discussing, right now we are on our way to Nilachal Dham, to Sri Jagannath Puri, and we are discussing the pastime of Sakshi Gopal, how Gopal came all the way from Vrindavan to offer his Sakshi to these two Brahmanas. And we'll conclude today's session by discussing the Phala Stuti, the benefits that we receive from listening to these transcendental pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in our yesterday's session, we heard the first part, that how Sri Nityananda Rama, he is narrating the wondrous pastime of Sri Sakshi Gopal, and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, along with the other associates, they are very, very aptly listening, attentively listening to this melodious narration of Sri Sakshi Gopal as is being narrated by Lord Nityananda himself, that how Sri Gopal Ji, how he comes to offer Sakshi, to offer witness to his dear devotees, to the words of his dear devotees. And we discussed yesterday that how there's a specific reason that why Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he's the Supreme Lord. He didn't have to, he could have himself told these pastimes. But Lord Chaitanya, he wanted to establish two things. One is authority, the other is parampara. So authority in the sense that the first thing is that Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Lord Balaram, who is Adi Sankarshan. He is the Adi Guru, the first spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu chose Nityananda Prabhu to offer these pastimes, to reveal these pastime places, because Krishna is revealed only by the mercy of the Guru. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya wanted to follow this. And therefore, he chose Lord Nityananda, who is Adi Guru. The second reason, of course, being that Nityananda Prabhu had already traveled these places and he had heard coming down from Parampara. Lord Nityananda had heard these pastimes, the glories of these pastimes from the Parampara himself. He is the Parampara himself. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya, chose Lord Nityananda to speak. So yesterday we heard how Nityananda Prabhu was so beautifully describing that how the two Brahmanas, one elderly Brahmana and the young Brahmana, all the way from South India, this little village called as Vidyanagar, they went to these different pilgrimage places and they finally came to Vrindavan. They traveled all the 12 forests of Vrindavan and they finally came to this beautiful temple of Gopal. And because this elderly Brahmana was so pleased with the service attitude of the young Brahmana, he offered his daughter in marriage to this young Brahmana. And he did it out of just to show his gratitude to the services that was being so selflessly rendered by this young Brahmana. And the young Brahmana said, no, I don't want. It's okay. I'm doing it not to gain anything from you, but because Krishna is pleased when we render service to his dear devotees. So the elderly Brahmana was still insistent, as we heard yesterday. And therefore, this young Brahmana said, okay, if you really want to give, then come and promise in front of Gopal, Deity. So then both the Brahmanas, they came in front of Sri Gopal Deity. And we heard yesterday that how the elderly Brahmana, he made Sri Gopal as the witness to his word that he would officially give his daughter in marriage to the young Brahmana. So then now weeks passed by. We are continuing to listen from the lotus mouth of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So Lord Nityananda continues narrating that, saying that, okay, after a long time spent in the loving service of Sri Gopal, blissful time in Vrindavan, they two Brahmanas, they eventually came back to Vidyanagar. They came back and they went to their respective homes. And after a while, the elderly Brahman, he remembered his promise. And when he was in his family, he knew the nature of his sons. He knew the nature of his wife. So with some kind of anxiety, he called his family members and all his relatives and friends. And he related to them what happened, that how this young boy, this Brahmana, he took care of him during this pilgrimage. And then he said that, this is what I have done. I have offered the hand of my daughter in marriage to this young Brahmana in front of Gopal Deity in Vrindavan. And as soon as they heard this, they were all very, very disappointed. And they said, when people hear of this, when the society hears of this, they will make jokes. They'll laugh at you. Look at our status. We are so rich. We are from a greater, family lineage. People will laugh at us. If you give your daughter in marriage, like if I give our sister in marriage to that young boy, it's impossible. He is got nothing. He is poor and he's in no match to our family. And we'll just give up all connection with you. We will abandon you. We've got nothing to do with you. So we are not going to agree to this alliance. The elderly Brahmana's wife and the sons, in fact, they even threatened the elderly Brahmana by saying that if you want to go ahead with this, we'll go ahead and commit suicide, but we'll sever all connections with you. But no way will we agree to this alliance. And the elderly Brahmana, he tried to persuade his family. He said, how can I undo my promise? I have made my promise in front of the deity of Gopal Ji in Vrindavan. How can I undo that promise that I made in that holy land of Vrindavan in front of this deity of Sri Gopal? And if I do not give my daughter's hand in marriage to this young Brahmana, he will call Gopal and bring him as a witness, because this arrangement was made with Gopal as the witness. And then the son, who was not so devotional at all, he just remarked, he said, the deity, whatever, he may be a witness and whatever, but he's in a distant land. We are in the south, he's in the north. How can he come and bear witness against you? You just say that you don't remember what you said and I'll take care of the rest. You just tell that you don't remember anything. So listening to this, the elderly Brahmana's mind became very agitated. You see, sometimes when we also come under such family pressure, it is so difficult for us that we know what we have to do is the right thing, that we know that we have to serve Krishna no matter what. But sometimes the family pressure of the non-devotees, they come to us in such a way that we are always, in a cross path. That what do we do? So what we must do is taught by this elderly Brahmana. This elderly Brahmana is teaching us by his own example that at that time, when we feel that the entire world is against us, just helplessly seek shelter of Krishna. And when we do that, Krishna will set right everything. So that is exactly what this elderly Brahmana, he was thinking, because his mind had become so agitated. He was thinking that what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? I have promised. I know I cannot break my promise that I have done, that I have given in front of Gopal to this young Brahmana. He just started feeling so helpless. And he just turned his attention. He just focused his mind to the lotus feet of Sri Gopal. Mentally, he was transported to Vrindavan, and mentally he just started meditating on the lotus feet of Gopal. And he said, my dear Lord Gopal, I am completely taking shelter at your lotus feet, and therefore I am requesting you, Gopal, please come and protect my religious principles. And at the same time, please save my family members from dying also. Because they are saying that if I go ahead with this proposal, that they will leave me, that they're going to die. What am I to do? One side is my promise to you and the other side is my family. My dear Gopal, please, only you can help me. Please come and help me, please. So then the very next day, the young Brahmana came to the house of the elderly Brahman, but his son, the elderly Brahmana's son, he was so cruel. He took a stick and he just chased the young Brahmana away. And the young Brahmana then called the village panchayat. He called all the elderly people in the village together. And then he summoned the elderly Brahmana's family to this meeting place. And then the young Brahmana said that, see, I'm calling this meeting to explain facts to all of you, that we both were on a pilgrimage. And during that pilgrimage, I served this elder Brahmana like my own father. And out of his own will, in Vrindavan, he promised that he will give his daughter's hand in marriage to me. And now he is refusing to do that. And then the village elderly people, they asked the elderly Brahmana, what do you have to say? This is what the young Brahmana is saying. What do you have to say? Is this true? So the elderly Brahman said, he just looked down. He was just nodding his head because he was afraid of his son. His own son had said that if he agrees to this proposal, then he is going to commit suicide. So he could not do anything, the elderly Brahmana. The elderly Brahmana, he just hung his head low in shame and he said, oh, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. So as soon as the elderly Brahmana said that, the son of the elderly Brahmana stood up and said, yes, I know what has happened. I'll tell you the actual thing. You heard the version of the young Brahmana? Now listen to my version. He said, while my father was touring these various holy places with this young Brahmana, my father had so much money with him. And seeing all that money, this young Brahmana, this young cheat, he actually decided to take all the money away. So you know what he did? He gave us some kind of an intoxicant, which is called as dhatura. Dhatura means, you just make some people, it's kind of an intoxicant, that you just forget, what is happening. It kind of puts you in an illusion. So that elderly Brahmana's son said that what this young Brahmana did, he actually put dhatura in my father's food and made him eat it. And because of that, my father became completely illusioned. And after taking all his money, now he's claiming that my father promised to give him his daughter. And the way with which, with so much confidence, with so much, confidence and with so much of, belief, this young son was speaking total lies, that the village people were completely convinced that, oh, this is what must have actually happened. Because it is something very believable, that because generally this is what happens when elderly people, they may be traveling, they have some money, some people can come and cheat them. This is not something unheard of. And the way with what that strong belief and the confidence with which this elder Brahmana's son presented this entire thing, this whole lie story, he built this up in such a way that everyone in the village was convinced that he is speaking the truth, that the son is speaking the truth, and the young Brahmana is a liar, he's a cheat, he is a thief, he is telling lies. So by hearing this very, very strong statement from the son, doubt entered into the minds of all the village people. And the young Brahmana was just protesting his innocence. He was saying that, no, this is not what has happened. Believe me, this is not what has happened. He is telling lies. This is not what happened. But nobody was ready to hear, because the son was not only coming off as very strong and bold, but he was coming out as very powerful also, making very, very powerful statements. So this is what happens in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, people are so expert to make truth become false and false become as truth by a very artistic kind of presentation. Srila Prabhupada would say that, mind-boggling words which are so confusing, we don't know in what way they can be just, very beautifully artistically combined, and they can be presented so palatably that they seem to be the truth. Atheistic people, they deny the existence of God, but they do it so artistically. They make it sound so beautiful and gorgeous, and, so many ways they put it. It seems very wonderful that, oh yeah, maybe what they're speaking is the right thing. So this is how we need to understand that Kali Yuga is filled with such kind of deceitful people, like this elder Brahmana's son, who with their lies can make a story out of nothing. They're very, very good in making, in Hindi there's a saying, Hawa mein kile banana, means in the wind you make an entire palace stand up, an illusionary palace just stand up in the wind, So like this, there is no truth to the statement, but everyone believed him in the village. Everyone believed the son. So then the young Brahmana, he protested by saying, actually, I told this elderly Brahmana that I am not a fit husband for his daughter. In fact, I told him, I protested it, that he should not, because his family, I knew that his family would not agree to this alliance. But then he made, this elderly Brahmana, he made his promise in front of the deity of Sri Gopal. And I had told this Brahmana that I'm making the Supreme Lord Sri Gopal as my witness to his statement. So then immediately, as soon as the young Brahman said this, the elderly Brahman said, okay. He told the young Brahman and the villagers, the elderly Brahman said this, that if Gopal personally comes here to bear witness to this incident, I will surely agree to give my daughter to this young Brahmana, the elderly Brahman said. So, and in his mind, the elderly Brahmana was praying to Gopal that, Gopal, please, Gopal, you come here. You are Supreme Lord. You can really come. You can defy all laws of material existence and you can come. So please, you come here and bear witness so that on one side, my family is also safe. And on the other side, whatever promise I have made, that can also be saved. So please. The son, after he heard this statement from his father, the son said, okay, even I agree, no problem. Let Gopal come here and let him give the witness and then I'll agree, no problem. Because his son said, he was atheistic. His son said that he thought in his mind that how will Gopal come? Is it even possible? Is it even practical? No, it's not practical for the Gopal deity to come from Vrindavan all the way here and speak from his mouth that, yes, I bear witness to this incident. No way is it possible. That happens only in fairy tales. It doesn't happen in real life. So the son very confidently said, yes, let Gopal come here and bear the witness. Then I'll give my sister in marriage to this Brahmana. So then the son also agreed to the father's proposal. So Lord Nityananda, at this point, he made a very, very important remark. Lord Nityananda said that we should note here that the elderly Brahmana, he was hopeful that Gopal would definitely come. He would actually come from Vrindavan, and therefore, by doing that, his promise would be upheld. And the atheistic son, at the same time, was thinking that it is definitely not possible for Gopal to come all the way from Vrindavan and bear witness. So both the father and the son, although externally they appeared to be in agreement that yes, Gopal should come, the elderly Brahmana was thinking that yes, the Lord will definitely come. He had that strong belief, the elderly Brahmana, that the Lord will definitely come. And the son, he also had this belief that there's no way that the deity can come. You see, both of them had belief. But one of their belief was that the Lord will come. The other was the atheistic belief that the Lord can never possibly come. You see, because the son was saying the deity is made out of stone or wood or God knows what. How is he capable of any kind of reciprocation? But the elderly Brahmana, he was thinking that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he will come to uphold my religious principles. So this is the comment made by Lord Nityananda at this point. And then when the young Brahmana, he heard this statement from the elderly Brahmana, the young Brahmana also, he had that much faith. He said, with full faith in Gopal, the young Brahmana immediately started for Vrindavan from Vidyanagar. And again, he came all the way to Vrindavan. He went all the way to Vrindavan. And as soon as he came in front of the Gopal deity, he started narrating everything that happened in the village of Vidyanagar. So then the young Brahmana said to Gopal, he said, after narrating everything, he said, my dear Lord Gopal, I am not thinking that I want that daughter, the elder Brahman's daughter as my wife. I'm not interested in that. But I'm simply thinking that the elderly Brahmana, he has broken his promise. And that is what is giving me great pain, that you know everything. I know that you know everything, that I can understand that you also know that the elder Brahmana is doing like this because of the pressure from his family. So please, my dear Lord Gopal, you are extremely merciful. You know everything. You are the protector of Brahminical culture. And you are extremely merciful, Gopal. So please, please, we both Brahmanas, you come and protect our religious principles. So please, come with me and become a witness to my case. So again, Lord Nityananda makes another comment here. He says that we must understand very, very clearly one thing, that the young Brahmana was the least interested. It was not his intention at all to get the daughter of the elderly Brahmana in marriage. He was, that was, secondary, thirdly, like that. But his primary interest was only that the religious principles that, they had made the promise in front of the Gopal deity, that promise should be always upheld. So his only concern that because the elderly Brahmana promised something, that if Gopal did not come and bear witness to that promise, then the elderly Brahmana, he would incur a spiritual blemish. His word would become false. And then Krishna's dignity, the Brahmana's dignity would also fall down. So this is the reason why, mainly, that only reason why the young Brahmana made this travel all the way to Vrindavan and requested Gopal to become a witness, not because he just wanted to get married. No, it was so that Gopal could bear witness to the words and make their words true, what Gopal had heard as a witness. So this was the reason why this young Brahmana, he was a pure Vaishnava. And his only desire was to actually just serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he also wanted to serve the elderly Brahmana, in this way, that he did not want that any kind of, bad thing should happen to this elderly Brahmana because he did not keep his promise that was made in front of Gopal. So hearing this whole thing and knowing the mind of this young Brahmana, Krishna, Sri Gopal, who is Bhavagrahi Janardhan, who knows exactly what mood we are in. You see, this is very important. We may sometimes come up and put up a show that, look, we are wearing tilak, look, we are wearing a sari, look, we are doing this, look, we are doing that, externally showing ourselves as devotees. But we can't cheat Krishna. We can't cheat Krishna with the external appearance of a tilak or devotional clothing or kanthi mala. We cannot cheat Krishna, because Krishna knows what is going on over here and over here in our heart and in our mind. That is what Krishna is seeing. Krishna is not seeing what, even externally, if we may be standing on the altar and doing arati. But if our mind is thinking of something else and not of Krishna, and Krishna knows that. Others may think that other devotees who may be seeing that, oh, we are doing arti in front of like thousands of people. Others may be saying, oh, look, what a great devotee, what important service they are doing. But if Krishna does not recognize that, if we at that time, if we are not fully present in the audience of Krishna, in the presence of Krishna, if we are not physically present there, mentally, physically present there, then it's of no use. No use. Because we cannot cheat Krishna. Krishna knows each and every thought. He knows each and every, thought process that is going on in our mind. He knows. And Krishna reciprocates based on that. We may be speaking so many externally things, but if we don't mean it in our heart, Krishna will not reciprocate. We have to mean it. And this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it actually helps us to come to that stage of now we are just, like a parrot. We are saying, chanting, what does chanting Hare Krishna, what does it mean? We are saying, oh Krishna, please, please, I am suffering in this material world. Please lift me up and engage me in your devotional service. This is what chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra means. What is the meaning of the Mahamantra? But do we actually mean it? Do we actually, when we are chanting, do we actually, in each mantra, do we speak like this to Krishna? Hardly. At least I know I don't. So we are trying. This is our practice, that we are trying to tell Krishna. Our minds will go 100 times away, but 100 times we bring it back to the lotus feet of Krishna. That Krishna, I'm doing this for you, for your pleasure. Please, please engage me in your devotional service. Sometimes when the baby is crying, like this, the mother knows, oh, the baby is just crying, it's okay. But if the baby is going, they cry, the mother will leave everything and come running to the baby, because the baby is crying like this, really wanting the attention from the mother. So by the crying, the mother knows, oh, my baby is just crying, it's okay. He can handle himself for some more time. But if there is real eagerness that, no, I want you, mommy, I want you now, then the mother immediately comes. That is the same thing with Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says, when we chant, we cry like the baby, we cry like the child cries for its mother. Like that we must chant. We must chant helplessly for the pleasure of Krishna. So Gopal Ji, he is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. Krishna, he understands our mood, he understands our attitude. So therefore, Gopal started speaking. After listening to this young Brahmana, Gopal started speaking, and he said to the Brahmana that, I understand, I heard you, my dear Brahmana, I will come. What I will do, you go now, you go back to your village. I will appear there. I will make my appearance there. And I will just make a statement that, yes, I have, I bear witness to this incident. I'll come and say there. So then the young Brahmana nodded his head. He said, no, Gopal, that's not going to work. That even over there, if you come as manifesting your four-handed form, and if you're speaking, people will not believe. Because what we have told them, that we have, that you, Gopal Ji, standing like this with the flute, you who are 7 feet tall, Gopal, that you have taken the witness, Black Deity, you are the one who's taken this witness. So you have to come. If you do not come, if you yourself personally do not come in this form of Gopal, no one will believe. No one will believe. There's no use that you'll make your appearance there. No. You have to come personally with me, because only when people see your beautiful smiling face standing like this, bearing the flute, and, in your Tribhanga Lalita Madan Mohan form, in the threefold bending form of Krishna, only then people will believe your testimony. So Gopal said, well, my dear Brahmana, have you ever heard of a deity walking from one place to another? How can I walk from one place to another? So then the Brahmana replied, my dear Lord, my dear sweet Gopal, your arguments are really not so strong, because deities are not even supposed to speak, but you are speaking to me. So if you can speak, you can definitely walk also. So come with me. So hearing this, Gopalji smiled that, yes, my dear devotee, he was very pleased. And Gopalji said that, reciprocating with the loving faith of this Brahmana, Gopal said, yes, my dear Brahmana, I will definitely come with you. I will actually walk behind you. I will, in fact, because for me, walking means dancing. So I will, you sing in front of me, and then I will come dancing behind you. And you will know that I'm coming behind you by this ringing of, you will hear the tinkling of my ankle bells. So when you hear my ankle bells tinkling, you'll know that I'm coming right behind you. I'm walking right behind you. But do not try to turn behind and look at me. Don't do that. And as soon as you see me, if you turn behind and see me, I will stand there only. I will not move from there. And every day you beg for some rice. In fact, Gopal said 1 kilo of rice you should beg for me every day, and cook for me nice rice every day, and I will eat that, and then we'll go all the way to your village. So then the young Brahmana was very happy, and the very next day, early in the morning, both the Brahmana and Gopal Ji, they started on their journey. And the Brahmana was singing, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Gopalji was chan 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 chan. He was dancing and going behind the Brahmana so beautifully, and listening to the tinkling sounds of the ankle bells. The Brahmana knew that Gopalji is definitely right behind me. And every day, on the journey, he was following the instructions of Gopal. He was offering the rice to Gopalji. And then when he came to the outskirts of his village, he thought, now let me just go home and I'll tell everyone that Gopal has finally come. And thinking this, he just turned to tell Gopal that, Gopal, I'll go and call everyone. And Gopal just became a deity again. He just stood there. And then Gopal just he started speaking that I'm standing right here. Go and call everyone and I will not leave from here. So when the people of the village, they heard of Gopal's arrival, they came running. They were struck with wonder and they went to see the Lord. They all came running to see their Lord. They offered their respectful obeisances to the Lord. And the elderly Brahmana, he was in ecstasy when he heard that Sri Gopal had danced all the way from Vrindavan and come to their village. And the elderly Brahmana, he just came and he prostrated himself in front of Sri Gopal, and he was, crying blissful tears of ecstasy and tears of gratitude that Gopal had taken this trouble for his dear devotees. And he came all the way to just bear witness. And everyone was so mesmerized by looking at this beautiful black deity of Krishna, of Sri Gopal. He is 7 feet tall, standing in a threefold bending position, holding a flute. So Krishna, Sri Gopalji was there. So then in front of everyone in the village, Sri Gopal spoke. And he gave his witness and he said that, yes, indeed, this elderly Brahmana has promised his daughter's hand in marriage to this wonderful devotee, this young Brahmana. So then hearing this, even the son could not say anything, and the marriage ceremony was wonderfully performed in front of Sri Gopalji. And after the marriage ceremony was performed, the Lord actually spoke to both the Brahmanas, and he said that you both Brahmanas, both of you are my eternal servants, birth after birth. And I'm very, very pleased with your truthfulness. So now you can ask me for a benediction. So both the Brahmanas, they said that, my dear Gopal, you have now come all the way from Vrindavan. You have danced here just to uphold our religious principles, our truthfulness. You came to bear witness to our words. So we request you, Gopal, don't leave us and go back to Vrindavan. Stay here and give your blessings and your darshan to all the people of this state. So then Sri Gopal, he stayed back over there itself. And from that day, that village, from the name of Vidyanagara, came to be known as Satyavadi, after these two Brahmanas, truthfulness that implored Sri Gopal to come all the way from Vrindavan to just protect the truthfulness and the words of these two Brahmanas. So the king of that country, when he heard this glorious pastime, he actually made a very beautiful temple for Sri Gopal. And this deity thus became very, very famous as Sri Sakshi Gopal, or the Gopal who came to bear witness to the marriage. So even till today, we can all take darshan of this beautiful Sri Sakshi Gopal. And when Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, thus when Lord Nityananda Prabhu in this way, he concluded this pastime of Sri Sakshi Gopal, Mahaprabhu was just mesmerized. He was in ecstasy listening to this transcendental exchange of love between the Lord and his dear devotees. He just became lost in, and he became oblivious to everything. And in great excitement, in great ecstasy, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu was just drinking the beautiful, form of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu through his eyes. And he was just loudly calling out, "Oh Gopal, oh Gopal, oh Gopal, oh Gopal, my Lord, my life," like this. And his eyes were just getting reddened. And because he was constantly, tears, loving tears were pouring down from his eyes. And saying, "Jai Gopal, Jai Gopal, Jai Gopal." Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu was circumambulating the deity of Gopal. Then a miraculous event happened. Because the devatas were also showering flowers, to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, just witnessing his dancing. But at that moment, that very moment, when Gauranga Mahaprabhu was circumambulating the deity of Gopal, suddenly one flower from the head of Sri Gopal Ji fell down. And as soon as that flower fell down, Mahaprabhu immediately grabbed that flower. And he thought that this was the best way of Krishna's, Gopal's reciprocation to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Gauranga Mahaprabhu immediately picked it up and he put it on near his ear, just behind his ear. And he just chanted, "Haribo, Haribo, Jai Gopal." So when we also pray to the deity, if something falls, like a flower falls or anything, we must know that yes, Krishna is actually reciprocating with our prayers. I remember Prabhu speaking one time, and my Prabhu was saying, he made a very brilliant comment. And because at one time we were in front of Lord Baladev, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra and Jagannath Puri, and both of us were praying to Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra and Jagannath Puri. And there was so many devotees, an ocean of devotees also there, many, many people who had come to take darshan. And suddenly a flower from Lord Baladev, it fell. And we both started, "Oh, Baladev, Jai Baladev." We were in ecstasy, seeing that Baladev, we felt that Baladev is answering our prayers. But Prabhu made one comment and he said, Baladev is answering the prayers of someone else who is praying very, very sincerely. This was Prabhu's comment. So Prabhu's humility was that he did not think that, oh, whatever I am praying, that Krishna is reciprocating with my prayers. But rather his thought process was that, he was glorifying someone else who may be praying. And that I saw in his face, he just said, "Oh, someone is praying and Baladev is reciprocating. Oh, Baladev, thank you for reciprocating with their prayer." He just said like this in front of the deity. And it was such a wonderful eureka moment for me personally, that, later on I was telling Prabhu that this was such a selfless thing to do. We sometimes think that, oh, Krishna is doing this for me. He's reciprocating with me. We tend to think like that. But I could realize that how a devotee should actually be thinking, that a devotee should be happy. This is what Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu teaches, that when we are happy, when others receive the mercy, then we get the same effect of that mercy also reaches us. We receive that same mercy. So this is something that even Gauranga Mahaprabhu, I was really surprised to read this in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that how even Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when he was circumambulating the deity, the flower fell from Sri Gopal and Mahaprabhu immediately picked it up. So this is there in our parampara, that how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees, with his dearly devotees in this way. So this concludes this most astonishing pastime of how Sri Gopal himself danced all the way from Sri Vrindavan Dham and offered his witness to the words of his dear devotees. So considering Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda as his life and soul, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur recites their glories in the form of this most beautiful Sri Chaitanya Bhagavatam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Chandajan Brindavana Dashutachu Pada Jugegan. So the Phala Stuti of listening to this most astonishing pastime is that anyone who listens faithfully to this pastime and who derives great joy from listening to this pastime of the beautiful narration of Lord Nityananda of Sri Sakshi Gopal will certainly be able to be the recipient of such loving exchanges between the Lord and his beloved devotees. Krishna himself will bear witness to every action, to every word of such sincere listeners of this very special pastime. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's pastimes are being performed even till today. Whoever is blessed by the Lord to see can see, and others cannot see. Adyapi holila koren Sri Gaurai, kono kono bhagwan দেখিবারে পাই এইখানে রহিল গ্রন্থ অমৃত লহরী বদন ভরে একবার বলো হরি 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 হরি. So today we will conclude our session here, and before we open up the lines, here's the quiz questions for today. What does the elderly Brahmana teach us when there is disagreement among family members? Second, what does Srila Prabhupada say about the deceitful people of Kali Yuga? Third, what is the important remarks made by Lord Nityananda in regards to this pastime of Sakshi Gopal? Fourth, what gives great pain to the younger Brahmana? Fifth, what is the meaning of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Sixth, what was the miraculous event happened to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the temple of Sakshi Gopal? Seventh, what is the Phala Stuti of listening to these transcendental pastimes? Thank you so much, dearest Ranjani Gopika, for these wonderful quiz questions. We are so grateful to you for this wonderful service. So now we can open up the lines. Hare Krishna. Please share your realizations, your comments, questions, reflections. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anyone? Oh, you're not able to unmute? Okay. One minute, let's see. Divyangi Premvikas Prabhu, can you see if it can be unmuted?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji as well. Janvat Pranam. I feel his presence also is there. That's why I told Mataji automatically it came.
Yes.
Our glorious goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful session, beautiful session. So we purely, we immersed in that session. So we feel like this is what happening, and we keen on watching what is next, what is going to happen. Yeah, the remarks given by Nityananda Prabhu is so outstanding. So which we heard from you today, and yeah, Mahaprabhu ecstasy also we able to feel that one. So how he immediately picked up the flower from the Gopal deity, and convey my regards to Prabhuji as well. So how humility he has. So we are happy to have both of your associations. Yeah, we need to think in that way. Yes, selflessly we need to think. So it should not be it should be happen for other devotees sincere prayers. Yeah, it's truly touched our heart. I can say that. So nobody will think like that, Prabhuji and Mataji. Like that, we won't think it, right? So we will always think about, okay, it was happened for me, like that.
Yes.
But the selfless thoughts should be, yeah, we should have that thought in our mind also. We'll be practicing that one. Yeah, and thank you for giving the tips for chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? So we are trying, as you said, yes, 100 times it will go out of, the mind will go away, but we need to bring back to them. So we are trying, Mataji, as well. So it
We
was a
all are.
beautiful.
All are.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your wonderful session. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Dandavad
you,
Pranam.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Hare Krishna Di, Jai Jai
Dandavat Pranam.
Shri Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you so much for taking the session. Prabhuji, Bhaiya is not there, but still, like, you took it so beautifully, and you are looking so pretty today. And uh, it was such a beautiful session of just imagining deity for Gopal Ji. Lord Krishna is so kind, so merciful. बस सच्चे दिल से याद करो, वो तुम्हारे पीछे पीछे आ जाते हैं. And वो भक्तों के भी भक्त हैं. It's so beautiful, this the full pastime. But you should have just the full faith in him.
Yes.
And when you have full faith, nothing looking back. He says, just don't look back. Yes, that's the feedback I like, that's my takeaway. And I have experienced it in my personal life also. You just have full faith in him, and he will just guide you and take you everywhere. And it was so beautiful. Yeah. And I from you only we also learned so much of the dedication, discipline. See, in spite of Bhaiya not there, you could have just said no class, but still you are taking it alone, being traveling also. So many things we learn from your association, from the devotees association, and this is also so true. And and obviously the chanting tips you are giving, it really helps a lot. Again, they are the reminders, because the mind goes so much from one place to other, and then you have to bring it back, and this really helps. And one more thing, when you had told us that so many times, like, we just take when the non-devotees in their life comes, and we just don't know what we have to just surrender ourselves, and we have to see that Krishna is always there to take care of us. So that is also so true. So thank you for your constant guidance, for your associations, and just look forward for that. And we all are very thankful to you. And say our Danvat Pranam to Bhaiya once he comes. Though but still we missed him.
Yes.
Because we're so used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we really missed him. I was hoping that he will come, maybe towards the end, but I think his meeting is going quite late. So,
but the way you narrated, I was just feeling, like it is a true story just going on, with all the expressions and everything. It was so beautiful narration. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Hare. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Sharanam Prabhu, Mataji.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Like you said, it's a melodious narration. Actually, if we tell this story like, Gopal, Bhagwan, He walked from Vrindavan to Vidyanagar, nobody will believe.
Yes.
So, but this story tells us, if you believe, if you pray, if you have faith, even God, even Krishna can walk behind you.
Yes.
All you have to do is have faith and have trust in him. Be a good devotee.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice narration. And lot of lessons we learned from this today's narration, how to behave, how to chant, what to think, It's a very good narration. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Huh, Mataji? Sorry, can't hear you. What's that?
Oh, Mataji, she's saying your left eye looks little swelled. So are you okay? You have any problem with your eye? So that's what she's saying.
No, actually, when we were in Houston only, I know this is looking very bad, but I was carrying something up the stairs. I missed a step and I fell. I hit the wall, and the swelling. Prabhu was up already, and he came running down. He put ice. Otherwise, it would have swollen up even more. The day that we were coming to Boston, it happened on that day. So I'm not able to do much on this side. So, but it's the blue. It's painful, but it's getting bluish like that over here now.
Oh, okay. Take care of your eye, Mataji. Be healthy. Of course,
Thanks.
Krishna's mercy.
You can see that this side is swollen for me, so I look bloated up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Take care, Mataji. Even with your pain, and you're taking the class, and giving us all the instruction, you're giving your association. Thank you for your effort, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
No, it's at least for this. Sometime we forget ourselves, and because of all of your association, so we feel so blessed. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hi, Gauramrita, Radhika. Hi, Bol.
Haribol. Please take care of yourself. I noticed your eye. I said, oh my goodness, I hope she's okay. But
Nobody noticed it yesterday. I was maybe because both of us were there, I was a little far away. Maybe that's
yesterday it was more prominent, but I'm so grateful that you took the time to teach the class regardless of your pain, and that is just so self-sacrificing, and you're such a good example for all of us to follow. It's so wonderful that, just I look at you and Prabhuji and I say Krishna and Radha. That's how I see this. It's beautiful.
No, it just came for my selfish reasons, because when I'm with all of you, we both feel so enlivened. So all of your association is like that, the energy boost for us.
and the same for us, ma'am. So thank you so much, beautiful Kalasuda. You're beautiful no matter what is going on.
Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Thank you, Amrita. Love you. Thank you.
Love you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvan Pranam. Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Danvat Pranam, Mataji.
Hari Bol. Mataji, please take care, Mataji. Sorry to hear that you got that injury on your eye, but please take care. And how you such a wonderfully explained the whole narration. It was so beautiful, so heart-touching, Mataji. Very, very thankful to you. And such a very good tips of the chanting, Mataji. As far as like we listen every day, but still we heard from the devotees, it will make change. It will make change, Then when we chanting, oh, Mataji was saying yesterday this, we have to helplessly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we can remember those words in our mind when we are hearing from some pure devotees, So it was so. Thank you very much for that tips, and also such a wonderful narration of the Gopal Ji deity. So heart touching, Mataji. And I got one realization like that, when you explain that, when Gopalji coming behind the Brahmanas walking, and Gopalji takes trouble for the Brahmana, for the devotee. So I was thinking about the Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj takes so much trouble, and he came from India to here USA just for the fallen condition souls. So how he is merciful for us, so that is my realization today. I was thinking when you are saying about Gopalji. So thank you very much, Mataji, and please take care, Mataji, and also my Dhanvan Padaki Prabhuji too. He's missing today, but you answered so nicely, Mataji, so nicely. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your association.
Thank you so much. Yes, we are so grateful to our Guru Vargas, each and every one of them. They are all above, 70 minimum. They're all above 70.
Please take care. Please take care.
So we are so grateful to each and every one of them.
Speedy recovery. Please take care.
So we are so grateful to them that, they're taking all this trouble for, all the devotees, all our Guru Vargas, all our spiritual masters. They're taking so much trouble for all of us. So, and yes, what has happened over here, I was deserving much more, but Krishna is so kind. He just gave a little bit and took it away. So,
but she's Mother, with your smiling face, you narrate the whole story so beautiful, like with that much pain, Dandavat pranam for your service, Mataji.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. It's always
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for another blissful class. Again, please take care of your I know you always pray for me, so I will pray for you. Then Krishna will give you a speedy recovery. And please offer my obeisances to Prabhuji too.
Definitely will do that, Prabhuji. Definitely.
And thank you so much again, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else? All right. So tomorrow we will have a special session on the glories of Lord Nrsingadev. So please stay tuned and please spread the word around so we can have some more participation. So we'll have a very special session tomorrow in order to prepare our minds for welcoming Lord Nrsingadev, who's coming over the weekend. So we'll have a special session tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.